and supported by extraordinary people who are passionate about mighty fine software. So you can see here, grateful to Wes, he's the CEO of the company. I remember this is actually the 3rd year of us having been here at Sparksuite, so very appreciative of this location. We started originally over at Improving near City Center, and when Sparksuite kind of approached us of, hey, let's expand to Woodlands, I was like, that's a great idea. I feel like there's tech everywhere, and there's a lot of people that would benefit from having a location closer to them. So I'm grateful for all of you guys who are here at this meetup. So Code4Y'all was started by like a group of us. I think it was pretty much before the pandemic, we wanted to bring back meetup groups. We were called previously Free Code Camp, and then we kind of created our own IP, and it's pretty much, we feel like having these meetups is very beneficial to y'all, to meet up with other people who are like-minded, and we want to leverage the community and the internet to help people like learn to code for free. And we want to get you guys motivated. We believe anyone can learn how to code. There have been so many people I've met through the years that have done so many amazing things, from just having a high school degree, from graduating from a boot camp, from doing something totally different from what they did before to now working in tech. So I believe this should be accessible for everyone. It shouldn't matter if you can't pay for higher education. You should be able to access technology and want to learn about it. So here are all the different meetup groups we have. I just mentioned the one in Improving, Pizza and Code. Kai is one of the hosts there. Him and his dad are always kind of like very prominent members of Code4Y'all. And then we have here at the Woodlands, Tacos and Code here in Sparksuite, you can kind of see over there. And then Code4Y'all Iron, that's over there near downtown. That's gonna be next month. I encourage you guys to come sign up. And then we have Code4Y'all Kids. This was, I think I did a speech at like a lower income middle school. Very good, because we noticed like there's, one meetup we had some parent who brought one of their kids to our meetup. And we're like, that's pretty interesting. Why don't we have like a Code4Y'all Kids division? So we currently have a Code4Y'all Kids division. It kind of meets up at different locations. Nargisa, who's the president of Code4Y'all, she's the organizer of it. And then just recently we have Copy and Code that just opened up just recently. It's at North American University called Copy and Code. So pretty excited, like we are expanding.
Where is North American University?
I don't know, I feel like that's near Stafford, but I'm not too 100%. I haven't been to that meetup yet.
Southwest.
I feel like it's more closer to the Southwest.
Southwest.
But it's a brand new meetup. I think its focus is more because like there's more, let's say college students who kind of attend that, but all these meetups are welcome for everyone to attend. So you can find out more information on our meetup group called Code4Y'all. So we want you guys to join the Code4Y'all team. We are all volunteer based. None of us get paid for this. We just love the tech community and we want to grow it. You can see here, Nargis is the president. Me, Vice President, William Fermo, and then Steve here, he's the CTO. But it's a great way, especially if you're trying to get into the tech industry, to help make a name for yourself. Not only that, kind of keep yourself motivated in tech. When you kind of work alone, sometimes you get unmotivated and sometimes you kind of like stop, but when you meet other people, and you'll see so many brilliant people around here, I encourage you guys to like talk to them. It'll make you more passionate and motivated to keep wanting to learn. So different things you could do is like what I'm doing is welcome members. You could do presentations, and it also helps your personal brand. Honestly, I had like a couple of people who were supposed to do this presentation this month, but they backed out. So I filled in and created my own presentation. So I picked on some things that I wanted to learn and decided to make a presentation about it. So if there's something you guys want to learn, and hey, the best way for me is if you're able to teach someone else. And that's the best way you are able to learn. So now what you guys are all here for is enhancing learning with Google NotebookLM. I know some of you guys are familiar with it. Is there anyone here familiar with NotebookLM? Okay, I see a couple. Okay, that's good. I know Mauricio is eating, but he knows it too. So first off, my name is William Fermo. Here's a little bit of my background. I did have a background in medicine, and then I transitioned into tech by doing a data science boot camp. So it was a 4-month program, one of the toughest things I ever did. And I was able to get into work in a couple of tech startups. And then after I did that, I was like, hey, why am I working for other people when I should start something of my own? So I started not only Code4Y'all, but also Three Bros Running Company, which is my company that I'm doing right now. And we have a big event coming up next month that I'm both scared and very excited to have. So very happy to be here speaking with y'all. So the state of the education in the US, and I'm not sure if you guys are seeing things. I don't know if it's necessarily because of technology or how things are kind of going. I know back in the day, I lived before the internet, like the different kind of things, media that you had to focus on was so simple. Like I think I remember before the internet, I just used an encyclopedia. Now there's so many different types of ways you could get information. And I think that's kind of like challenging the way how it's getting difficult for people to have like proper education. So I don't know if you see this, 21% of US adults are functionally illiterate. 50% of US students don't finish high school. I have some friends who are actually teachers. They told me some of the students, they can't even take the test. They have to, the elementary school students, they have to wear some headphones to vocalize the question to them. And to me, that's insane. And I'm not saying it's like, in, like, let's say the Woodlands area, I'm sure like the school system is so great here, but I feel like education is not the same everywhere. And I really firmly believe in education, and that's why I'm here today talking to you guys, and I'm glad you guys are all avid learners like me. So how has learning changed, okay? So this is, let's say, before computers. You can see here we were using like chalkboards, books, you know. I don't know if you had like the chance where you had to get the book and you had to return it. That's what I had to do. But that was like kind of like traditional learning. So this is like prior to computers. The way we would learn is like orally. So, you know, like the teacher, or let's say like you go to a church or anything. So you would learn through storytelling and discussions. You know, that's how people would learn. And then another way was, I should fix it, apprenticeship. So apprenticeship is like, let's say in the old days, like if you want to learn how to be a blacksmith, you would apprentice someone who's a blacksmith. Just recently, I went to Tokyo and I saw there was another taxi driver, older taxi driver, and there was a younger guy sitting next to him up front, and he was pretty much apprenticing him on how to be a taxi driver. And I found that very unique. I don't know if that's necessarily a thing that still happens today, but I saw that pretty interesting that they still do that in Japan. And then finally, and then you have books. So books is a great way, and it's the main source of knowledge back in the day before computers. But the main issue with that is you had to be able to read, right? So that was like kind of like another kind of pain point for some people if they didn't have the education to read. And then finally, schools. So currently, schools go up to high school here in the United States, but formal education, like in different various subjects, like anything you want to learn, to be a doctor, if you want to be a teacher. But unfortunately for like, let's say if you want to learn through schools is like, if you want to get higher education, you had to have some kind of form of tuition, you had to pay for it, right? So, and not only that, it's like that goes paying to book. So that to me was like, prior to computers. That's the way you had to learn. You had to have these kind of books or the money to buy books or some way to kind of like find a way to learn. And then currently, this is like learning with computers. You can see here, now you have like maybe a touchscreen TV. People are taking notes with like computers. This is like what's currently happening now. So age of computers. Now, the way you learn is you don't necessarily need a piece of paper. You can use your iPad, you can take digital notes, you can do things on your computer. Before, you're just limited by the amount of papers in your notebook. Now, it's pretty much limitless. And not only that is you have global collaborations. And I think this is a very important way to learn. And this is one of the ways I learn. I don't just focus on like how things are going in the United States. I think things are happening globally, and to me, finding out how someone else is doing something in China versus someone doing in the United States, collaborating, being able to collaborate to someone, not only like, let's say another country, but let's say in another state. I think that is so important, so you can make those connections, and it just like improves your kind of learning. And now we have AI-powered learning. You know that with ChatGPT. My girlfriend right now, she's using like Meta glasses. So there's so many different ways that you are being able to learn, even through your phone, through your computers, especially ChatGPT. I think that's really changing the game. And then finally, the internet. And I think this is like the game changer, in my opinion, right? Before, like I said, like I had access to encyclopedias. I don't think anyone else really had access to encyclopedias when they're kids. That's just a luxury. And now anyone can have access to the internet. You could go to the library, you can have it on your phone, you can have it on your computer, and there's so much information out there. So much information out there, it's too much. And you can find it anywhere. And one thing good, you can find it for free. You can find it for free and you can learn pretty much anything. So there are different styles of learning, and I'm gonna go through a couple of different varieties of them. So first is visual learners. Some people need to have visual items. So you can see here, this is an abacus. I know, let's say someone needs like some kind of graph, some infographics, or I've noticed a little trend where people would learn things not only like on YouTube or TikTok, right? They'll see like a recipe, or they'll see something and you're like, hey, I could do this, right? And that's a style of learning, right? That's a style of learning. I feel like people are kind of transitioning towards like something quick, instant, and something very visual. And then there are those who are the auditory learners. They need to have something spoken to them. Like what I'm doing right now. I'm speaking to you guys, I'm talking to you guys like during lectures. It's easier for people to learn when they hear something. When I was like a kid, I don't know why I did this, but I remember I was like trying to learn something. I forgot, maybe I was like 15, 14 years old, or something like that. And my mom enrolled me to like the speech camp. I think I was actually younger than that. I was like probably like in elementary or middle school. And it was like for high school kids. And there was all this information and I had to like learn it. I felt like I was like kind of behind. So I did something, I don't know if it would work, but I recorded myself like reading the lecture notes or whatever. And then I would record it, I would play it while I was asleep. So hopefully maybe it would like subconsciously get into me and I would learn all that stuff. But I was trying all different kind of facets to help me learn faster, right? Because you know the traditional way of me just like listening or maybe just me just like reading wasn't working. So, and then there's what I said, like reading learners, people who need to read books, maybe you can read on the computers. White papers are very important. That's how people will kind of learn and get their knowledge. I feel like this is the more traditional way of like learning. And then there's something called kinesthetic learning. And that is learning by, let's say, project-based or, I don't know the exact term, but like, what would be another better term, Charlie?
For what?
For kinesthetic learning.
I would say physical learning?
Yeah, physical learning. So like, let's say you do things while on the job, right? Like I said, like with apprenticeship, like the person who is teaching the blacksmith, he's learning how to be a blacksmith by actually physically doing the things he needs to do. If you ever, even sometimes when you're thrown into like any kind of tech job, you end up having to like learn certain software that you never had to learn when you were going through your formal education, and suddenly you had to learn it. So you had to learn on the job, and sometimes it's a good thing, but sometimes it just forces you to learn. So learning by physically actively doing it is another way of like learning. So there's the roles of AI in learning. It helps you learn faster, more efficient, and more personalized. If there are things that you're learning that maybe someone else is able to grasp faster, and then you can't, AI can help you like find those spots that you need help on and help you fill those in. And I think that's really good. And you can see here all the different types of AI that you can kind of learn. I'm probably missing a lot of things. I haven't really messed with DeepSeek, but I am very curious about like how well that works. So now I'm gonna go into what you guys are here for. What is the notebook? So the notebook is about a man writing, no, I'm sorry. No, that's not it. So the notebook is actually, like I said, when I was a kid, I had like multiple notebooks. It would be for each subject. It was for biology, it's for literature, it's for math, algebra, anything, right? And then, so I would write it, hey, this is for biology, this is for art or whatever, and then I would write the notes I need to have in that. And then for the next class to do the same thing. And then you have your locker, you had to put all those notebooks back, and then you had to like decipher and go through, hey, is this legible or whatever, but this is how we would do things back in the day, right? And the problem with this is like, when those notebooks are full, you're done with it, and then you need to get another notebook, right? And then my mom still uses notebooks to do basic like accounting and or scheduling, and it kind of frustrates me because like, I don't even know how she's able to organize all that information because it's so much. But this is the old ways of how people would use notebooks. So now we have NotebookLM, and this, when I was like looking for something to present about, I want to present on things that interest me. So I was like, hey, I never heard about this NotebookLM. Let me kind of like go do a little research and kind of like test this out. So I found this pretty interesting, and it was like, it's about thinking smarter, not harder, and it's the ultimate tool for understanding the information that matters most to you. And like I said, I'm a very big proponent of education. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing it for all of you. And if this will help me learn faster, that's an amazing thing. There's so many things that I want to learn. Right now, I want to learn Mandarin. I think that's a language I really want to learn. So, but it's a very hard language for me to learn. But you know, if this will help me, maybe this is the thing that will do it. So, what is Google NotebookLM? It's an AI-powered research and note-taking assistant. So it works with Google Drive. You can upload PDFs. You can upload any kind of text-based document. I think it also accepts like audio files too. But it creates like summaries, a little podcast, a structured note organization, and easy document cross-referencing, So you can see here a little bit, like it's introducing the NotebookLM. I'll go into it a little further when I go through the demo, but it's pretty much like a digital notebook, like what I explained, like the physical ones. So how NotebookLM works, this is a simple process. You upload whatever document you have. You can upload many different sources. My preference is to upload things specific to the notebook. So like when I said, hey, I have a notebook for biology, it's just gonna be anything regarding to biology. Hey, I have a notebook for math, it would be anything regarding math. Or let's say like you wanna devote a notebook to Python or Java or anything that you're interested in like learning. So the AI will create summaries or key points of those sources that you've created, and then it'll also create structured notes. Like I told you, like, you know, sometimes you're like with a regular notebook, you're just putting so much information there, and then it's all kind of unstructured. NotebookLM will actually help you structure that mess of content that you have in your head. And also, it will retrieve information quickly. And I think that's a key thing. Like, you know, you have all this information, and you need to find what you want to need quickly. And this is what it will do. So now I'm going to go into a demo time to kind of show you how it actually works. If you guys want to kind of like mess with it yourself, you can. So I'm going to show you here. This is NotebookLM. I'm going to show you a little bit of the notes that I have here. I already uploaded certain sources, so you guys don't have to. But you can see here I have different things here. I have like, I actually want to show you this right here. So we had like a meetup, and I encourage you guys, I'm not sure, is it he or he? Huh? Okay. Huh. So Jesus, he's there recording the video, very grateful of them. But he uploads like all his videos to his channel. I encourage you guys to subscribe. And you see here, we have a playlist of all these Code4Y'all meetups. So I was like, I attended this one, Mastering Secure Login Mechanisms for React applications. And I was like, let me see if I can put that into there. But it doesn't take video, it only takes audio, so I converted that video to audio, and then I made a notebook out of it. So you can see here, Mastering Secure Loganism, and you can see already, this is the one source right here. I'm sure I could add more sources, but I'm just kind of keeping these kind of tight to what I want to focus this notebook on. So I just want to know everything about this lecture that we had. And you can see here, it offers like a little summary of what this document pertains to. You can see here, this is like pretty much it is like transcribing the whole video right here from the audio. So here it provides like a little about what the transcript provides. It says like it features a presentation on secure login mechanisms for React applications. Details the challenges in implementing secure logins, such as credentials, storages, and other authentication management. And from that, we can create certain things right here. So you can see here, it created, let's go to another summary. Here's a summary, here's a detailed briefing document summarizing the main themes. So it says, presentation focuses on the complexities of implementing secure login mechanisms in React applications. And it gives you little key themes, evolving complexity of application logins, basic login challenges, the case for delegating. But it makes it in a way, let's say you did attend this lecture and you wanted a little more insight, that you can kind of go in here and get a little more information. And then that's a little summary. It even creates a fact. I don't necessarily think I'm gonna go through all this information right here, but you can see it gives you a little fact about certain things from here. And then let's say it has a timeline, the whole lecture. So it does the presentation, GitHub access, and I'm sure it has the end, like the demo and then the questions at the end, right? And then here's a little study guide. So here's a study guide, gives you like a quiz. You know, that's another way for people to learn, right? Or make sure you're learning the knowledge you have, like by doing like tests. So you know, hey, am I proficient in what I learned? So it gives you like certain kind of quizzes, answer. I think I went over the summary, went over the fact. And I think, let me do a little questions from what I remember. What is the difference between using, I think, open, I think. Because he was like pretty much promoting OpenID as like a replacement to as a replacement, because I think it's open source. And so this will like say, it will go about the specific differences about like, hey, why you should prefer this or that. I found that pretty cool. And then this is another cool thing I really enjoyed. So we did like, hey, you could see things from like doing quizzes and then reading. I thought I loaded this audio overview, but it might take a little minutes. I tried to like kind of set this up a little earlier, but I found this pretty interesting. So let's say any information that you want to learn. I often do this now. I don't really like to listen to music now. I like to listen to podcasts. I feel like when I'm driving so many miles or stuck in traffic, it's more beneficial for me to like learn. So I use that time to like learn by listening to podcasts. So I could take this information and then put it.
Let's dive into another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at secure logins for React applications.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be something that a lot of our listeners are interested in.
Definitely.
So our jumping off point today is this audio excerpt from a presentation called Code4Y'all Mastering Secure Login Mechanisms for React Applications.
Oh, yeah.
And it's by Harsha Thiramana. This guy really knows his stuff.
Yeah, he really does. What I really like about this presentation is that he goes kind of beyond the basics.
Right.
He gets into some of the, the real world challenges that a lot of developers don't really think about.
Yeah, I know. I always kind of thought like logins were pretty straightforward. Just username and password, you're done.
Yeah.
But he really breaks down all these like complexities that start to pop up.
Yeah, exactly.
As your app grows, you start adding more features and stuff.
Right. He starts off by going over some of the fundamentals, like how do you store these credentials?
Yeah.
Right.
How do you manage authentication throughout the app? Then he goes on to like, how do you handle sensitive data on both the client side and the server side?
Wow. Yeah.
How do you, make sure your database design is up to snuff? And then he layers on even more challenges like session management,
right,
role-based access control.
So I'm just kind of show you, like, we've been seeing stuff like we're actually reading like this content, but this is like a auditory way of learning. And for me, it's like very easy on the ears. and you're not even thinking about like, hey, I'm able to like attend this presentation again, and I'm learning it in a different way. And I found this audio overview very fascinating and very cool. I tested this out with like other different kind of sources, but I think that is cool, especially when you're trying to learn any kind of like topics.
Could you go back to that for a moment?
Yeah.
Look at the share, please, up in the upper right-hand corner. Okay. Are you sharing to Google users or what?
This one, I think this is right now. I haven't really played with the sharing kind of access.
Add people and add me, please.
What?
Do the add people.
Let me see.
Cyberchuck.
Oh, Cybercheck. Yeah.
Do Cyberchuck at gmail.com. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm wondering what happens. I haven't seen like when you do a collaborative kind of thing.
Okay.
Do you have to have like a notebook, or we'll just like open this exact kind of like thing?
Open that
Okay.
thing, I think.
Okay.
And I'll let you know if you
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm curious about that.
I am too.
I haven't really played with the analytics yet of this, so I guess like when you do like collaborations, this will like open up. But I'm very, very curious about that. When you start sharing like little notebooks and things that you've created, I think that's another way of learning. So, you know, if this is something that is good for me, then it's good for other people. I did upgrade to the Plus because there are some limits to like the free plan that you can only have like, let's say 50 sources. I kind of go through all those like limitations a little bit later. But I think like most of you guys, I have multiple like Gmail accounts that you can kind of easily bypass that. I think I've not paid for ChatGPT. I use so many Gmail accounts. You probably can see like all right here. And I was like going through like all the different kinds of like information, right? So you see here that video I turned into audio. Even something like, I'm going to show you another thing, right? You see this kind of like, let's say like chicken scratch right here.
Okay, here. This is what you shared.
Okay.
I got my Gmail, I clicked the link, and I get that.
Oh, that's cool. Do you have to have NotebookLM already?
No. NotebookLM is not an app. It's
Okay.
It's built into the web. So
That's pretty cool. So that's cool. I am kind of curious, like, let me see, and you can't upload any kind of sources either. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I was like, I think this would be kind of another kind of cool way if you could even like target, like, let's say you're working for like a tech company. Someone told me about like they built their own LLM with all their information, and then they send it out for the resume. This could be like a quick, easy way. You put all your information that you want, like possible recruiters in there, and they can ask questions of it. They can easily ask questions of it. So I'm gonna go into this. You can see this. This is just pretty much like some kind of like chicken scratch kind of thing, right? So I have like my phone. I'm gonna show you guys. I have this phone. I have like the Samsung Ultra. And anytime I have some kind of ideas, anything, right? I like to take it out and I just start writing stuff. I just start writing stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about like writing. It could just be certain kind of ideas or certain kind of things. So I was like curious, like, but the problem with that is like most of my notes look similar to like this, right? Let me fit the page. Okay, see, so most of my notes look similar to like this. So, you know, I have a running event company, and so I'm like trying to like figure like the motivations of like our participants. So I was like watching Forrest Gump, and I was like, I want to get that certain kind of like feeling that Forrest Gump had, and other people, he just felt like running. So I have little things like that, and I was curious, can I get some kind of insight from all the information that I did? So you can see here, here's a little bit more of all these like meeting notes. So it's so many different things. I mean, you know, it's not necessarily about running. You can see here, I think I wrote about like, what is this? Like, what is blockchain, gig economy? I forgot something about, right? It looks very jumbled mess, right? So I'm telling you, these are just like things that I hit, and I'm just like, hey, I just learned something, and I just want to write it down. So I have all this information right here. I took this from my phone and I put it into this folder, and I'm like, can Google NotebookLM create something from this? And you can kind of see here. Okay. This is weird. I definitely put it in here. But it actually did. So let's just upload one of these files. So I'm not going to use that one because I'm not going to go through all of them. Content idea. So let's just go with that. And then see, it'll generate a little conversation. I feel like it's going to be taking a lot quicker than the other one. But you can even say right here, this handwritten document note poses the question, why do you run? The response given is, I just felt like running, to the film character Forrest Gump. It can be for the handwriting note, it's referencing the iconic movie. And that's just like from one note. It's able to, I am very impressed with this handwriting recognition. I know I had this somewhere here. Personal notes from iPhone. Oh, here's one. Right? So you can see here, I'll play a little bit.
Dive in. Wow, looks like we've got a lot to unpack here. Handwritten notes, meeting minutes, presentation slides, even some thoughts on blockchain.
Yeah, quite the mix. It's like a brain dump of ideas, all in one place.
Exactly, but hey, that's what we're here for, right? To help connect those dots and figure out what really stands out.
Definitely, like piecing together a puzzle. And one thing that jumps out
Does
immediately
it show you the text?
is this theme of running.
Yeah, it'll transcribe it. So you can see here, let's say I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
Right here. So this is,
It's got the summary, but does it show you the actual, what it transcribed? Did it show you the resultant text? It obviously generated, because it's generating out of the podcast.
it seems to get like a general source. I'm not too sure if it transcribes it exactly, but to me, I was very amazed with what it was able to come out with all that scratch, right? And all those different ideas. I'm telling you, I talk about running, I talk about like entrepreneurship, I talk about NFTs, all these things. And it was able to make kind of sense out of all of that. And like, I mean, let's listen a little bit more.
It does, doesn't it? Races, different types of runners, even the business side of things.
And you've even started sketching out these different runner archetypes. The competitive athlete, the ageless athlete, the social athlete, and the reluctant athlete.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to understand your audience, right? What motivates them? What do they need?
Exactly. Like, think about the social athlete. They thrive.
So I was very impressed with the handwritten recognition technology they have here. That I was able to take all these little things I had in my head and make into something more palatable and much more easier to understand.
Wait, I have a question. So there's two voices talking to each other.
Okay.
How's that? It's generated on your notes?
Yeah, it's generated from the content from the sources. I guess they make it when it's like, I haven't messed with it enough to see if there's like a solo person, but it seems to always have someone who's like a back and forth. Maybe when they were designing this, they found it like people enjoy that more than just one person talking.
When you get a chance, can you look at the links I sent you in the email?
Okay.
But wait till you finish your
Yeah.
presentation.
So I'm showing you that. I'm showing you, let me see what I have here. Let's go back to, I'm showing you like all these things. This is an old paper I had from my MBA kind of thing right here. I don't know. And I was like, let me see if it could like decide. See, this is from like 2001 when I was like doing my MBA. That kind of tells you how old I am, but it was able to even get that information and create something out of it. And I found that so impressive. I had to go different ways. I had to convert it to a PDF, but it worked really, really well. I'm gonna show you something. Like, I'm not sure if it's gonna actually do it, but I did like a presentation, entrepreneurial talk at another university. And so they had a video, and I decided to do the same thing. I took the audio and then I added it as a source. So I wanna type this and see what's the answer will give me. What does William think of the phrase, if you can do it, if I can do it? Okay, let's see. So it pretty much, so I don't know if you guys could see that. William Fermo dislikes the saying, if I can do it, you can do it, because he feels it belittles one's accomplishments. He sees that he hates the saying, wishes he had never used it before. Fermo does not think a lot of people can do what he has done. He wants to motivate people to prove him wrong, however. So I did this. I remember I was like telling my girlfriend, I was like, hey, I'm gonna do something kind of crazy. I really wanna like make these students a firelight under them. So I put that in my presentation, right? I was like, big quotation, if I can do it, you can do it. And then I marked it off. I was like, you guys can't do what I can do. And it's cool I was able to kind of find that, right? But one thing I love about this, it's like, let's say this is kind of like, this is the way I kind of like interpret like NotebookLM is like, it's like your sandbox, right? So this is your sandbox with all your toys, and it just focuses on those toys. It doesn't focus on anything else. Whereas like ChatGPT is like the beach. The beach is like everything and so many things. That's so much information to be able to like work with. And this is nice, like each notebook I have is based on things that I want to learn and use. Another interesting like use case that I found out when I was like working with this, my girlfriend was like working on a line, right? So she was like, hey, she's a flight attendant, she's right there. Okay, and she had like this line and she was like having a difficult time of deciphering this. So it's like a bid packet and it has like all this information here. I'm not sure, I don't think you necessarily have to see the whole thing, but it's a lot of information here that it actually, you know, me looking at this, it doesn't make any sense, right? And it's over like 242 pages, right? And she was having a hard time. She's like, hey, what am I gonna do about this? She has to like kind of make her schedule from this. And this was like a real-time based kind of like scenario. And I was like, why don't we just like make our own NotebookLM out of this? I don't know if I actually made one here, but I think when we initially were doing it, it was doing pretty good and we had to kind of give it the information. But I think based on that, it was able to come up with some decent insight, right? I don't know if we had like I don't want to like spend too much time constraints. I ended up downloading another couple of sources, such as like this flight attendant PBS guide here to kind of like add to it. So it'll have much more things to reference. And then another thing for like from a website, just downloaded that into a PDF. So it has more sources to like work with. But even from just uploading this one single document, it was able to give us some insight into all that information that made it much more easier for to understand. So it's not just for people who are working in tech. It could be for everyone who wants to do something to learn. Let me see. Yeah, like right here, I was so impressed with this. Like this MBA, from that, I showed you that image of me like from like my MBA days, and it was able to take that little text and still decipher something. The handwriting technology is like so impressive.
Exactly. Your stuff, like excerpts from this MBA student's paper.
Ooh, MBA student, interesting.
It is. And they wrote all about team dynamics.
I bet that's super insightful.
It is. And also a personal journal entry.
Journal entry.
Yeah, so.
It's a reflection on like a group project.
I'm so impressed, like with what I was able to do. And I encourage you guys, if you do have this, to just kind of mess around with it and then just find out ways that will help you learn, right? Is it through like the study guide? Is it through the briefing doc? Is it through the fact? Is it through the timeline? I'm actually gonna like try to like upload more stuff and make my own little notebooks and just like listen to stuff on the podcast that I generate myself. I think that's a cool thing. And it's cool, like we could kind of share like all these notebooks that we create ourselves. So now I share something with Charlie. I know Charlie's gonna be sending me some stuff of his own when he starts messing around with it a lot more, or other kind of sources that he has that he can share. I remember, I think you sent me a bookmark of like.
Could you bring up your email, please?
Yeah, let me go into that before.
If you're done.
Yeah, let me see. I mean, I'm pretty much done, but I could go into that and then just go into the finish of it? Or do you want me to go into that?
Finish it.
Okay.
Finish it off first.
Yeah, I didn't know, I don't want to go too much into it. I hope you guys got a little insight into like this demo. you kind of see it. I didn't want to upload so much documents and have things kind of like loading. So that's why I had things already preloaded. But you can see like from the little bit I have done with it, that it's doing a lot of things. And to be honest, I did this presentation just last night. I was just messing around with this last night. She guys tell me, I was like, I don't even know. Let me learn this new technology that I haven't even used yet. I just want to learn it. And I was able to pick up on this pretty quickly.
How much did you pay for Pro?
They have like a free trial. So I put a reminder, end my subscription at March 17th. So I did that with Copilot. I think I did a Copilot. They had a Copilot presentation, and then I did something similar. So I did the like free subscription. You know, I did that for this one because when I did those, I don't know, you saw all those like written documents. It counts each of those documents as a source. I think if I was to do it again, I would just like compile it into like one PDF, right? But I already hit my limit from uploading all those documents for 50 sources. So I was like, I'm just gonna pay for it. Not necessarily pay for it, but do the subscription and then cancel it afterwards. So these are more practical real world applications. Education is a given, right? I think for people who are students, they should be using this probably all the time. It's nice to be able to like create little summary study guides, even questions, right? I don't know how teachers are even able to create curriculum in this kind of day and age when you can have AI say, hey, give me the possible type of questions and answers. So it's been very challenging. And especially with legal, you have so much legal documents, if it's emails, if it's papers, it's able to like summarize all that information for you. And then healthcare, you do a lot of research. You do have a lot of like, let's say like white paper documents that I feel like, I remember when I would do stuff with like anatomy and physiology or just physiology or genetics or anything, this makes it sound so much easier than it would be before. And then marketing, I haven't really messed with marketing with it too much, but I can see anything you kind of throw in there, you can ask it. So there are limitations. I don't know if I necessarily have all the limitations NotebookLM has. There is, for the free plan, I think it's a 50 source limit. And I got through that pretty quickly. And then, so that gives you like a maximum of 500,000 words. I think there's like ways to get a workaround about that. Like I told you with the 50 source limits, I would just compile my information to one source and just do it that way. You already have all your sources, so you could have more sources. And then it only scripts text document. It doesn't take any kind of images, videos, web apps, so it's just pretty much text-based. So you see when I did do a lot of like the conversions, like from the video or from that image, I would make that into a PDF. It won't take images. Handling large documents, I haven't done this personally, but it says it may struggle with large documents. And the total capacity is like 25 million words. I mean, it sounds like a large amount, but anyone here who deals with data, I know Kai has his own like trading bot. You need more than 25 million. So NotebookLM really helps different types of learners. I went through all the different types of ways you can learn, especially people who are visual learners. You get structured summaries, it makes things a lot more palatable. Auditory learners, I think it is like a given. I love how they structure the podcast. It made it very pleasant to listen to, and something I tell you I would probably listen to on the drive home. So a thing I really like about this, and this to me is very important, but is the ability to ask questions. I think that's a thing that to me, when I was growing up as a kid, I would always ask questions to my teachers. Probably annoy them too much, right? But I know not a lot of people like to do that. I like when someone talks to me, and I don't know what they're talking about. I'll ask them, hey, what is that? I think that's better than just going through life and just pretending like you know what they said. You know, you don't get any value with that. Like, I probably had discussions with any of you guys, and then you guys bring up something, and I don't know what it is. I remember the first time someone told me what an NFT was. I didn't know what that was, and I'm not going to stand there and just like. And all these other gentlemen right there. I was like at a tech event, and this was kind of new, and they were like talking about it, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but all these other guys know it. And then I went to the guy. I was like, what is an NFT? And found out, right? There's no shame in not knowing something. I actually like when I don't know something, because then that's something I need to learn. So I encourage you guys. So that's what I love about it. You can ask it as many questions. It could be whatever it is. There's no dumb question in my opinion. The more questions you can ask, the more you can learn. So I think that's an important. I didn't go too much into the question aspect of it, but I think that's an important tool to have. So the importance of asking questions, it enhances learning, it encourages critical thinking, it improves communication, right? So it reduces misunderstanding, right? And it drives innovation. Anytime you question something, maybe you could make something better, right? And also clarifies uncertainty. I'm not even saying that right, but it will help you learn better. And I enjoy using Google Notebook. I used it for last night and today, and I feel like I'm going to be incorporating more into things I'm going to be doing in the future. So if you guys have any questions, you guys could click here, add me on LinkedIn. Don't forget, if you guys do want to support Code4Y'all, I encourage you guys, I want you guys to take pictures, post about this. I want this whole building to be filled up and there be a standing room only. There should be more people of you. Once you talk to the people here, you're never gonna want to not come again. I know there's people who come from Southwest side. I come from Katy. Chin comes from Southwest side too, but it's a great thing, and I want more people to know about this, and I want more people to learn. I think that's very, very, very important.
And the food's good.
And the food here is the best. I'm telling you, out of all our meetups, it is the best. It is the best. Do you want to see the thing?
Can you go ahead and...
Yeah, let's see. That's my personal email. Hopefully I don't have, I don't know, I might have something in there that I'm working on.
It's up to you.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can see if there's anything. Yeah, Charlie just shared with me something similar. I guess it does something with podcast. So.
What I did was, the first question when you see this stuff and you generate a podcast is, how do I customize it? Can I have different names? Can I have different links? Can I have different levels of content? The answer is not in NotebookLM, but I found an article that talks about, there we go. Go to that, I think it's the first one.
Okay.
Scroll down. Best AI podcast generator, free and paid. So it gives you an entire list of other generative AI, podcast generative AI stuff, and there's a huge list there. And that's just a subset of what's out there. But this is something that if someone has gone through the trouble of going and evaluating and saying, these are the ones we think are the top.
So it does something similar to what NotebookLM does.
That's exactly what it does.
Okay.
You'll scroll down, go to the other, go back to your email again.
Okay. You can see all these tabs I've been working on.
The last one, look at the last one.
This one?
Very explicit. PodLM, it is the LM generator and it's open source. It's meant to replace NotebookLM for podcast generation.
This is cool. I really, I want to try more content that will make things into an auditory kind of way for me to learn. We all learn differently. If you learn better through auditory than visual or reading, I would recommend trying this.
Right.
Don't try the thing where when I was a kid, just record and sleep on it. It didn't work for me. It didn't do nothing. I should have just studied.
And you're going to post this presentation, right?
Yeah. If you see, I think I shared you guys. I would recommend go here. He has a channel. He posts a lot of content. Let's see. You can see here some Code4Y'all content right here. Learning Rust was like 6 months ago. So you will find it. We do have like a Code4Y'all YouTube channel, but as you said, like we're all volunteers, so it takes a lot of work. But I appreciate that he's uploading it to his channel. And look, we have like, he has like good audio for this too. And like the links, if you guys want to see that, I'll add the links that Charlie has been sharing, and then stuff too. Like if you're interested in any of my notebooks, if you want to hear like my presentation about to those like college students, you can listen to that.
What's the channel name again? What?
Jesus. It's at HEZHU6938. Okay, guys, do you guys have any questions or anything in general? If not, I encourage you guys. Okay.
Not really related, but you mentioned in passing that you did like the free trial,
Mhm.
and then like you're gonna cancel it for an ad. And you mentioned also that
Yeah.
when they did the GitHub Copilot one, that you did the free trial and you canceled it.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to cancel it and not continue using it?
For Copilot, I'm not specific. I don't really do enough coding in my general life for me to use it. I think I had that because we had someone who was going to demonstrate Copilot, and I wanted her to have like her own, like, you know, she couldn't use her business one.
Presentation, I loved
Yeah.
it, but I was like, I don't want to use it my 1 month free trial if I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, I feel like when I do certain coding things, I tell you, I pretty much hit the limits of like ChatGPT. I do mess around with Claude a little bit. So I'll just like, when something kind of like runs out, I'll just use I'll use another account, right? I don't know if that's best if someone does coding like 24/7, but it's not my primary thing. So I just have enough, like I told you, like I'm thinking of workarounds for like to take advantage of this free plan for the notebook, right? I think for my daily use, I don't necessarily need to pay. Maybe once it gets to that point where it's getting so frustrating that I'm gonna have to pay, but right now, I don't think so.
So it's very dark. So it seems like it was like, okay, neat little tool to play around with, but I just feel like the Copilot one, that you did discover yourself using it and finding enough value in it.
Yes, yeah, at least for me. I'm sure other coders probably are using it a lot more than I would at this point.
And would you say it's because you don't code enough to use it, or the type of coding that you do, it didn't particularly support?
Yeah, I think the type of coding that I do, it doesn't necessarily support. And then the stuff that I'm using for free is good enough for me right now.
Do you use it a lot?
I don't use it at all.
Okay.
But I was like really interested when I saw the
Yeah.
presentation. It looked really cool, but I wasn't really sure. And I'm like, well, I knew I wouldn't be able to give it like a in-depth use when I was in just 1 month. I don't code enough to do that.
Okay.
But I was just kind of curious if you write some more code than what I could.
I can give a presentation on it.
You use Copilot significantly enough? Okay.
But one of the things.
Okay, wait, sorry.
I think we've mentioned it here, and I mentioned it in mine. It's, at this point, it doesn't make any sense to say that AI is going to replace all programmers, period. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
But if you educate yourself on something like Copilot and use it as an assistant where you have a human in the loop, then it's very powerful.
Yes. Yeah.
But only using it as an assistant. Don't assume that it's going to generate everything.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that's been shown over and over again is there have been several examples, and I can find you references if you need, but you can find them. And that is, people go out and say, generate me a database program with app that will handle my customer addresses. And it generates 3,000 lines of code. Who's going to check it? Okay. A human has to go and check it because they've discovered that A, it might be inefficient, B, it might have security holes in it, and only a human, so far at least, can look at that code and say, oh no, there's a massive security hole over here. So, anyway.
Yeah, I firmly use like AI like a supplementary thing. I feel like you have to have a base for anything. Like I now I'm kind of like moving away from AI generated content, or even like I hate when people are kind of lazy about using AI. When you see someone makes a post and there's all these emojis in there, you know that they didn't even try. I think I still use AI, but I still want to have my authenticity into it, like in any of this stuff I'm making.
As an assistant,
Yeah.
that's the best way to use
Yeah.
it.
What was your question?
Yeah, I just want to provide my point of view. I switched to using AI for coding full time. I started since early January. The job I was, we couldn't use AI because they didn't want IT going to OpenAI service, right? So we couldn't use code. So after that, I left the company, started using it myself, and I was hesitant because, all hype and all that, but it actually improved my productivity. But the way I use it is that way. I have a plugin in my IDE that has the context of the code I'm working, which is just like that. So when I open my IDE, now it has the context of the code I wrote. I just add a little bit more context about what I want to do. For example, if I need some legwork, like I need a function that is going to go through a JSON and get this data, and it's all different all the time, it will just write a function. Now we'll just check everything, and I ask it, okay, I need you to write a unit test. I'm using this library, this specification with this style. Sometimes the prompt is like this big, but the more context you give it, the better.
Right.
So it writes a test for you, and you have something working. You have the test working, and that's like, I don't know, 4 hours of work is for you, and that's been very helpful for me. I paid for Claude is and search graph. I think they have an agent the name is Cody, which connects to Claude AI, and it provides context and it helps you. And more point to that about the security goals. There is some research being done about using agents. Agents is something specialized in certain things. So you have an agent writing code, you have an agent specialized in security, doing penetration testing to the application that is deployed by the programming on AI. That's how you have two agents working together. You get something more secure. And if you have something doing hostile, checking the hostile is good across the code base, you have another agent. But this is just testing, it's not actually something that people have in production right now, but it's pretty cool.
No, good thing to say. One thing I'm afraid of, like the dependency on AI, is like what happens when governments are a lot more restrictive on this. I visited, I forgot, Hong Kong, ChatGPT doesn't work. If you ever go to like China, you can't even access Google. So things like once you get dependent on a certain technology, that could be a stranglehold. So it's always good to have some kind of base learning and be able to produce something from nothing is still a very impressive thing.
So, on the NotebookLM, the way you take and synthesize all these different sources and provide a summary of it, what method do you have of engaging with this, let's call it a student, because we were talking about the student of engaging with that summary and like say, okay, here's what the summary says, but it will make a little bit more sense if I rephrase like this section or something like that, of turning it and making their own, kind of like, you were saying, it's like you can't just, when AI spits out, you can't take it as being off the truth. You need to go check certain things, you're like, okay, I want to go see, wait, but what did they actually say in the original source, and then also can say, okay, yes, this makes sense, but this needs to be tweaked. What does the NotebookLM have for doing that, like tweaking and adjusting of what the summary is, and then also of taking that and then repurposing it into something else?
Yeah, like I'm telling you, like when so I had her, I think I showed you, like she had like a slide, what do you call it again? A bid packet. I have no familiarity with the big packet. I don't know anything about like flights or anything. And we put it in there, and then we were like, I just asked it like a base, like what she would want. So she wants to find what is a good line for her based on this information. And right now it just looks like numbers, letters, and stuff like that. And initially it was giving me just the flights. it wasn't giving, so a line consists of a bunch of different flights that she wants, and it'll give her credit hours and all these, and time off or whatever, but it kept giving me the wrong information, just gave me this flight is the line. And then so I had it corrected. I kept saying like, use line something, but it wouldn't work. And I think I was able to, because I see the information's there, but for some reason it's not giving me the information I want. So I ended up prompting it to say, ignore all the pages before this, give me a good line from page, I think it was like 112 downward. And then it finally found a specific line that she could work with. But just kind of like, it was good because like I had her there, she's like, that's the wrong information that I need. And I didn't know. Let's say if I was like just putting myself like, hey, this looks good. But with her knowledge, source knowledge, it helped tweak the model a lot better. So it gave her a more appropriate information. Right now, it didn't give her exactly what she wants. And that's why I'm kind of adding some more things to kind of like figure it out. But
once you got the output,
yeah.
what support is there to do something else with it?
What do you mean? Just like ask it specific questions around that source?
Well, once you get the answer,
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, I like this
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
And you've got whatever's next in your workflow of doing something with that information.
I mean, it's just like, it's like with anything you learn. Like if you feel confident in what you learn and you've asked it enough questions and you've listened to like this audio thing maybe multiple times and maybe it doesn't hit you after the first time, then you have this notebook that you can kind of reference, or hey, you've learned enough from it. That's the way I kind of take it.
Would it be like where you can like export it to a new Google Doc, or export it to a Google Slide, or turn it into some sort of database?
I think right now we did that share function, right? And then we saw it created some kind of environment for another Google Notebook, even though he didn't sign up. I was looking at some limitations about like the share functions, but that's a good idea that you could,
The whole
yeah.
thing, but to answer your question, if you take the summary and then use that as input to your ChatGPT or your whatever, and say, rewrite this for a third grader, and it will do that. So you can manipulate it that way if you want to, or you can just copy and paste it and do your own modification.
Yeah, one was like, how much is it where you can just copy and paste it and do whatever else you want in your next workflow? Or if there was stuff built into it
Not in this tool.
Yeah.
ChatGPT you can. When you get a thing back, you say, write it for a third grader. You write it for a third grader. So you can use the add part and back, or you can use whatever else you want. The main thing is copy and paste it. And it's not really evident from a lot of interfaces, but almost every tool now has a little icon that says copy. And
Yeah, I could.
but it's still basically copy pasted to the
Correct.
next tool.
Yeah,
Correct.
it seems like it.
I don't think it has the rewrite in this notebook. It does have that in ChatGPT and some of the others.
Thank you guys. I encourage you guys, okay.
Thanks for putting this together.
You're welcome. Like I said, if you guys are here, make sure you make one connection. That's what I always try to do with any of these meetings. If you haven't, you're wasting your time. So